everyone. So great for us to be together. I was sharing before services that I feel like I never know if the room's going to be full, if it's going to be half full. This is actually more people than I think I was expecting because over the last 7 months I've learned that if we have a weekend that draws in a lot of people, then sometimes the next weekend has less people. So I'm very excited to see all of you and for us to be able to join together in Shabbat. Also was surprised because the nicest part of today is like now, right? It was at 4:30 when I came back to the synagogue, not this morning when I was here, but I'm getting used to it, that it was rainy and not so nice this morning. And then at 4:30 I walked out and the sun was shining, it was not cold, not warm, it was kind of beautiful. So I'm getting used to this whole Louisiana. Multiple seasons in a day. That is true. I still have yet to shovel my driveway since moving here though. So raking leaves, yes. Well, actually I should be really honest. I did not rake the leaves, but they needed to be raked. But there was no snow shoveling that needed to happen. So, and I imagine if there ever was any snow accumulation here, that everyone would stay inside and it would melt on its own before. It wouldn't be like I needed to get out of my driveway and drive somewhere, like in previous places. Okay. So it's the day I should run all my errands. You said the snow is fun. So I will have to say, Eliana, kindergartner at UHI, one of their projects to learn about winter was to turn a sock into a snowman. And I said to Eliana, did you tell all your friends you've done the real thing? Because we've made snowmen every other year of her life. So she got to share with all of her friends who haven't really played in snow how you make the real thing and then come home with a white sock that had rubber bands around it and stuff drawn on it and stuff stuffed into it. But yeah, so great for us to be together. Let us start by singing the words that remind us of that Hine Matov. I was talking earlier about the moment at Havdalah, if you were with us last Shabbat, when we transitioned from a nigun, which is a Jewish piece of music without words, so we normally say nai nai or lai lai, to Hine Matov. And if you were with us, you heard 98% of the room, because it was a familiar tune, start singing. And I thought that was just such a beautiful moment when we were together for Havdalah last Saturday night. Let us sing the same words, the same version together now. Hine Matovu Manaim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matovu Manaim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Hine Matov. Ya la la. Hine Matov, Hine Matov. Ya la la. Hine Matov Manaim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manaim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. I invite you to open up your prayer books to page 120, where we find our blessing for lighting our Shabbat candles. I was having so much fun chatting before services, I forgot to ask if anybody wanted the honor this evening of lighting our Shabbat candles. So I'm going to look around the room and see if anybody wants to jump up, or if two people, please. You know, when you voluntold someone else, you end up doing it yourself. So you can do it together. That's lovely.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Amen. Thank you. Shabbat shalom. We would have thought you've been practicing all week. Let us turn now to page 125 and let us read together. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Let us continue our theme of welcoming as we welcome the Sabbath bride to our community with the words of Lecha Dodi, page 138 and 139. We'll sing together in Hebrew the chorus with verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And if you'd like, there is a tradition when we get to that final verse to rise and to face the door so we can metaphorically greet Shabbat just like you would greet someone who had just rung the doorbell of your house. So let us sing together at Lecha Dodi, page 138. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmianu el ha-meyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shem u'tiferet ve'litila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor habracha Merosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'maksheva techila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri Kiva orech kumi ori Uri Shir daberi Kevod Adonai alayich nigla Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi kala yalalai 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 Panei Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom ateret bala Gam besimcha Shalom Segula, Boi Chala, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Yalalai, Panei Shabbat, Nekabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Yalalai, Panei Shabbat, Nekabela. Before you take your seats, let's take a moment to greet each other. So I invite you to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. Maybe not the person you're sitting next to, not the person you arrived with, but take a moment to say Shabbat Shalom to each other. That was in unison. Once you've had a moment to greet each other, you may take your seats. Let's continue this theme of greeting as we welcome the ministering angels of Shabbat, page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As we turn the page, let us for a moment focus on the 4 short lines on the bottom of page 145. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. Yitgadal v'kadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yotev yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon, uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael. Bagala, uvizman karib, ve'imeru. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam u'lam me'omayel, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitroman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nefemata, damiran me'alma, ve'imeru. Let us turn to page 146, and I invite you to rise. may be seated. Let us read together on page 148 in the English. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Sivaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We continue together, page 151 in the middle. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. As we turn the page, I invite you to rise if you wish. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. We continue chanting together. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol lavavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'leftecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, emet. Let us read responsively page 157 in the middle. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Probably not this exact tune, but we know these words from last week's Torah portion, page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, no kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Let us read together on page 161 at the top. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. If your past week was anything like mine, your days were long, and you forgot many days to hit that pause button for whatever reason, whether you were taking care of family, whether you had a busy week at work, for whatever reason it was. I sometimes need that reminder that I need to hit the pause button, and Shabbat is our reminder. But I want you to think about other ways, maybe on a Wednesday, maybe on a Tuesday. We can wait till Tuesday evening to do Havdalah if we don't have a chance to end Shabbat on Saturday night. So maybe another day during the week, you too need a reminder to hit that pause button. What are some things we do to remind ourselves to rejuvenate our souls?
I pet my cat.
Nice. Yeah.
Take a walk.
Take a walk. Yeah. Yoga, yeah. Meditate. Could be both, right? Meditate, or if we're having trouble hitting the pause button, we could medicate, right? We could do both. Sometimes you need to do that. I will say. Yeah. Yeah, as long that's the purpose. That works as well. I will say, lying on the carpet staring at the ceiling, one of the gifts Eliana received, I think it was not this most recent Hanukkah, but the Hanukkah before, because she was really into space, was this thing that had like different constellations and planets and stuff on it, and we turned it on and we shone it on our ceiling. We were still living in Kansas, and I'm gonna be honest, I think the fact that I turned the lights off and lied on the floor and stared at the ceiling, I might have liked her present more than she even liked it. So sometimes we just need other things. So maybe it is lying on the ceiling or sitting out, did you say by the lake with the martini? Yeah. Yes. For some, I think it could be staring at a campfire or some kind of flames. Any way to kind of turn our brain off, right? We laugh, but think about your week and how often you forget to lie on the floor and stare at the ceiling. Or how often you forget to pet the animals in your lives, or to, maybe we regularly go to yoga. If you do, someone needs to reinstate my exercise routine and help me find that motivation to regularly do it. Although I will say my pause button was the opposite of yoga, because I liked like heavy bag and kickboxing classes. But you know, we each find our pause in different ways. And I think sometimes we forget. We're lucky as Jewish people that we have Shabbat, because Shabbat reminds us. My favorite thing to do on Shabbat is the Shabbos Shluff, which means lying on the floor and staring at the ceiling, basically. Works much better if you're the parent of a small person, if they are also taking a Shabbos Shluff, which is a little bit harder now. Shluff just means like a nap, right? Sometimes we need that reminder. And how joyful it is that Shabbat allows us to celebrate, but also reminds us to rest. So let us think about all of the things we do on Shabbat as we celebrate Shabbat with the words of Vishamru, page 162. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam, beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam, V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Before we enter our Amidah together, I want to draw our attention to the underneath the little blue line at the bottom of this page. Sometimes I think our eyes wander. I don't know if your eyes ever wander to the jewels that are found at the bottom. In this prayer book, sometimes the jewels that are found at the bottom explain to you where the prayer came from. And at other times it quotes people like Ahad Ha'am. So on page 163 at the bottom, a reminder about how important it is that we continually hit that pause button and celebrate Shabbat. Because it says more than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat. Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. Because it is our pause button. We run in all these different directions, and Shabbat allows us, some of us still have to run, I understand, in all the directions. But at least it reminds us that it's okay to stop. So as we keep that in mind, let us enter our Amidah. We'll chant together beginning on page 164 and following on the right-hand side of the page, and I invite you to rise. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yadi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor, HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol et Avraham Le'Hoshia, Mashich HaRuach U'Morib HaGashem, Okel Chaim Ve'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol Be'Rachamim Rabim, Somich Noflim Ve'Rofei Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umidom Melech, Melech Memit, Umechayei, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei ha'akol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, V'kadoshim kol yom yehalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. I invite you to continue now with silent prayer. either the words you find on the pages until page 180, or the words you have in your own hearts on this Shabbat evening, and I invite you to be seated whenever you wish. Oh, say shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Many of us in this room, as we pray for shalom, might be feeling our own peace. But we know there are those within this room, in our family, our community, our friends in the world, who are still searching. And they're searching possibly because they suffer illness of body, illness of spirit, and illness of mind. So we turn our prayers now to those in need of healing. Our UJCBR prayer of healing can be found in our prayer books on page 371. As a community on this Shabbat, we think of Joy Lewis, Lucy Silva, Minna Bat Yentl, Mordechai Bendina, Rowan Hausman, Anna Carlo, Judy Roheim, Frida Tamara Bat Liba Bela, Menucha Pasa Bat Cherny Umosha, Gretchen Haynes, Linda Weinstein, Ruby Smolinski, Lee Kaplan, Jennifer Casson, Vicky Furstel, Storm Matthews, Ivo Spalatin of the older generation, Terry Stern, Judith Von Bretnell, Celestian Kovacic, Joni Thomas, Nathan Bourgeois, Zessel Bat Yentl, and Linda Posner. If there are others you are thinking of on this Shabbat, if you'd like to share their names aloud, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. For the names we heard aloud and those whom we hold in our hearts, let us pray for healing. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. I think my scratchy throat has been taken on from this Louisiana. It's raining and then it's nice, and I was just saying I haven't yet had to take all the allergy medicine that my family has had to since we moved to Louisiana. As the doctor put it, she's just having trouble adjusting to the Louisiana air, is what they said about Eliana. But you know, I can feel that scratchy throat and when the weather changes a lot. So I feel it all the time here. But over the past 2 weeks, I have been following the story out of Bloomfield, New Jersey, where a man threw a Molotov cocktail at a synagogue. When I worked in New Jersey, I frequently visited that synagogue, and I know people who work there and call it their home. Luckily, the building did not catch fire, and although there was no physical damage, there was deeply rooted emotional damage. Whenever we witness an anti-Semitic attack, no matter if it is personal, nearby, or far away, some amount of fear takes over. Will I be next? Will my synagogue be the next target? When you walk into this place each week, what do you see outside? You see an officer in our parking lot. Even though we are lucky to have not had anything local happen, we still fear. When we fear, we sometimes let it take over our actions. I definitely look over my shoulder more if I am ever in this building alone than I used to in Jewish spaces 10 or even more years ago. But we can't allow ourselves to live in fear. We can't allow hatred to overpower community. Also, a year ago, right before we read the same Torah portion that we are reading this week, my colleague, Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker, was held hostage at his synagogue during his Saturday morning services in Colleyville, Texas. During an NPR interview after the incident, he said, "We are imperfect human beings. Whether we're in a synagogue, a church, or a mosque, whether we are religious or not, we are imperfect human beings trying to live the best we can. We can't know the future, we can't know what's coming, and we also can't live in fear every step of the way." I can't even imagine how he or the members of the synagogue in New Jersey or any other place who have experienced an attack locally are feeling, or how differently they act in the immediate aftermath. But I can learn from the eagerness to return to praying together in each of these instances. I don't know what it was like here in Baton Rouge, but in Kansas City, after an attack, everyone would show up together the Friday night after, the Saturday morning after, to pray. In December of 2019, I traveled with a group to the Union for Reform Judaism's biannual convention. Aside from the amazing learning sessions, opportunities to network, and experiencing Shabbat services with 5,000 Reformed Jews in one room, there was one moment that stood out to me. Deborah Lipstadt, author of Anti-Semitism Here and now the special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism, was one of our keynote speakers. Lipstadt, an extraordinary professor at Emory University, and someone who has been, as she said, swimming in the sewers of Jew hatred and Holocaust denial for 40 years, said that while she is, of course, deeply concerned about the trends we are seeing, she is equally worried about what we Jews might do to ourselves because of anti-Semitism. One line specifically in her presentation that I have not forgotten over the past about 3 years came after she shared a story. She shared the story of one of her students, a senior at Emory who Dr. Lipstadt had known for 4 years, who suddenly decided to begin wearing a kippah. When she asked him why, he replied, "There have been so many attacks on Jews recently, I've decided that every time there is an anti-Semitic attack, I am going to wear my kippah so that I can show the anti-Semites they can't frighten me." When she told this story, the biannual plenary screamed and applauded. We responded in excitement for the story. I clapped at that moment because I was happy to hear that a young adult was not afraid and instead was openly proud of his Judaism. Dr. Lipstadt tilted her head, smiled, and said in response to our applause in a way that only she could, I had a slightly different reaction. She went on to say that while she admired her student's chutzpah, his desire to show his identity and not cower in fear, she said that her heart broke a little because he had allowed anti-Semites to determine when he felt Jewish. She said they were controlling his Jewish identity. He was motivated by the oi of being Jewish, not by the joy of Jewish life. She continued, "That's not my Judaism, and I don't want it to be his." One of the main points of her entire keynote speech was that the concern about anti-Semitism can't be the cornerstone of our Judaism. We today can't allow our fear to drive us. Let us find a different reason to show up. Let us show up because we need our Jewish community. Let us show up because bringing the ancient text to life in our modern day excites us. Let us show up because seeing every day of our life through a Jewish lens is important to us. Let us show up now and show up when we are not on the news. This week in Torah, we find ourselves at Mount Sinai. Our ancestors collectively say the very famous phrase, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. But now we need to say the same. We will do Jewish and we will hear Jewish. We will show up to be Jewish and we'll bring people along with us. We will not let our fear stop us, but we also won't let our fear be the driving factor. For the Jews who stood at the foot of Mount Sinai, it was not only Torah and mitzvot that were revealed. They also discovered their own true inner essence. There are so many midrashim about this section of Torah, but we each need to remember one. One of them teaches us that every single person there, and supposedly I met you there, we were all there, heard it in the way they needed to hear it. However, God was speaking through Moses. Each person this midrash teaches that heard it in the way they needed to hear it in that moment, being able to discover their own true personal inner essence. So as today we say Na'aseh v'nishma, let not our fear, but our true inner essence for each one of us be what drives us to celebrate our beloved Judaism. On this Shabbat, let us hope for a day when the words from Micah will come true. Everyone will sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one will make them afraid. Shabbat shalom. As we return to our prayer book to conclude our service, anybody want to volunteer to walk up a few steps and open our ark for us? You too can get a candy necklace or a lollipop if you would like to help. Gus is on the move.
I was persuaded.
The more the merrier.
Bill, come join me, man.
You're only doing it for the lollipop. You know, at least you're honest. We can have more than two. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
As they're opening the ark, we're on page 586, and I invite everyone to please rise. There's a little button you have to do.
Yeah.
Don't worry, on the next one I asked for no
Thank you,
buttons.
you're very kind. Let's hope it does not repeat.
Aleinu neshabeach ladon hakol, la'tekidu la'liyoseh reishit, shelo asanu kiloyeh haratzo, velo samanu kamishpachot adama, sam chelkeinu kadam, velo rolenu kechol harmonam, va'anachnu horim, umishakavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamalachim, hakadosh baruch shebechunotei shamayim ve'yoseh haaretz, u'moshe v'yikaro b'shamayim ima'ol, u'shiratuzo begovhei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od, and b'molkeinu efes zulato, katu b'torato, v'yadata hayom v'hashevota el levavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim ima'ol, ve'al haaretz mitachtat ein od. Let us read together on page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech. May we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may close our ark. I wasn't joking. Take it.
Well, thank you, buddy.
You may be seated. I got lollipops, I got candy necklaces. You can slip it in your pocket and hide it from later.
I'm still in front of the
No takers. No takers at all. You know, as someone who has a very deep sweet tooth, I will have to say that treats are not just for kids. I'm glad you got that. That cereal is not good in my opinion. That can be just for kids. It's way too sweet, and I love sweets. Oh man. As our prayers draw to a close this Shabbat evening, we turn our thoughts to our loved ones who are no more. Tonight we remember two taken from us recently, Ronald St. Pierre and Josh Yellen. To their names we add the names of those who passed away during the past year: Jim Bowman, R.B. Dickerson, Moni Mayer, Joanne Strickler, Richard Stone, John Wormser, Robert Eisenbach, Jerry Suppos, Donald Kim, Hannah Bine, Nathan Zuckerman, Bernie Flicker, Herman Van Oz, Shirley Marvin, Victoria Vestel, Morris Bonadonna, Lynn Schmulin, Jerry Black, and Abraham Hutt. We also think of those who died at this season in years past and whose family members are observing the Yortzeit, the anniversary of death, on this Shabbat. Julius Buddy Bombette, Bruce Dunham, Leonila Escobedo, Arlene Feldman, Felix Frankel, Gus Kaplan, Alex Karnofsky, Max Kizzelstein, Nathan Kramer, Edith Levine, Diane Levy, Abe Lichtenstein, Joseph Lipsy Sr., Sarah Lolke, Billy McGuire, Florette Newman, Helene Plotkin, Joan Samuels, and Lillian Yukon. If there are others you are thinking of on this Shabbat, if you'd like to share their names aloud, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. For the names we heard aloud and those whom we hold in our hearts, we turn together to the words of Mourner's Kaddish, page 598, and I invite you to rise if you wish. Yit gadol v'yit kadash shemei rabba, ve'alma divrach yotev yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon uvyomechon uvchaye dekol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yahei shmei rabba mevarach leolam olamei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha barichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yahei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zikronam livracha, may all their memories be for a blessing. As together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Jack, I'm going to invite you up as our representative of our board to share a few announcements. You didn't take the first one. You can take them now if you'd
No,
like.
if we had good lollipops, maybe
You tell me what to have, I'll get different ones. This was I have a 6-year-old, so it was a
Tootsie Roll
6-year-old request. Because she calls them Shabbat Chups.
She calls them what?
Shabbat Chups. It's like the brand of lollipop or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
I hope she gets dum-dums at synagogue. She gets these.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us tonight for services and whatever else. Tomorrow morning there's Torah study at 9:30 a.m. in the social hall and on Zoom, Minyan at 10 in the green room, and services at 10:30 in the sanctuary or on YouTube. Wow. Tomorrow night there's a Havdalah service on Zoom hosted by the Saxey family. This Sunday, join the Sisterhood in the Kitchen at 12:30 for a Hamantash and baking program. Also, this Sunday, join Rabbi Smiley, at 2 p.m. in the green room for our next lifelong learning session, making meaning of our prayers. Good Lord. On Wednesday, join us in the social hall for a trivia fun night with local craft beer and chicken wings. Next Shabbat, we welcome all current and former Scouts to join us as we celebrate Scout Shabbat during our Friday night 6 o'clock service. Finally, we want to hear from you. Please sign up to join a parlor meeting discussion by using the link you received in your email or by calling the office. Rabbi Smiley will lead these small group discussions to gain a better insight into what keeps the people engaged in synagogue life and what Jewish values are most important to us as a community. Our common values will be used to make important decisions about programs, services, social activities, the future naming of the congregation, much more. Shabbat Shalom. I went last night and the parlor meeting was terrific. I think all of you all should be there at some point.
Thank you. Aside for the wonderful plug, I think I've decided I want Jack always to read the announcements because I love the running commentary. Maybe one day when I'm on a walk, if I pass your house, I'm just going to hear him narrating his life. But it's okay. Eliana does the same. So, yes. So please join us for everything. I'm going to plug again Wednesday at 6 p.m. We're having a trivia night. One of the things we're working on are always reinventing our prayer and bringing in more opportunities to learn, but we also think it's important at this moment in our congregation to make sure there are opportunities to socialize with friends you've had a while and maybe friends that you'll make during trivia night. Even if you're really bad at trivia, I am bad at trivia, please join us. Don't worry, it's not like testing if you did well in religious school. It's not Jewish trivia. There might be some Jewish trivia, but we did hire the trivia hosts that do trivia, like if you would go to City Slice or you'd go to Curbside Burger or one of the bars in town that has trivia, we hired the same trivia hosts to do it for us. And if you hate trivia, you should at least come because I've been told that there's going to be beer and chicken wings. So for one of those reasons, either the beer and chicken wings, the socializing, or the trivia, or for all three.
How long will the event last?
I think that it's going to be like 90 minutes, like 7:30 is my guess. But if you need to leave in the middle, your team will be sad, but especially if you're the one that knows all the answers. But
No problem.
but no problem, yeah.
What are usually the categories?
I have no idea. Has anybody done trivia in Baton Rouge? Okay. Yeah, I mean, we told them to. I will tell you that I think they do all sorts of categories. We told them it was going to be an intergenerational program, so they're probably going to be asking questions for a lot of different things. And then the guy in charge was saying that he was probably going to put in a few Jewish questions, but we told them we did not want an hour of like just Jewish questions. We didn't want to test to see how well we did in religious school, because like I didn't like religious school growing up, so maybe some other people didn't as well. You want a kickboxing class? If you can get me an instructor, we can host one of those here. I just spoke, last night we were talking about yoga. Yoga might be easier to do in the building. All the equipment you need for, well, if it was kickboxing and you hit the air, we could do it. I don't know. If you have ideas for programs, send them my way. We're really trying to bring people together in all sorts of different ways. And speaking of bringing people together, if you were with us again last Saturday night at Havdalah, I think you wrote, Robbie, did you write the words to that song? So if you were there, you noticed once you were done singing that really cute song to Ein Kelohenu that my daughter broke down crying. So I couldn't decide why she was crying. And then she said to us in her nice crying 6-year-old voice, "That was just so sweet. It was the cutest thing ever." And I was like, my heart was so warmed. Because she heard the entire room sing her name, right? Like that's like the best thing ever for a 6-year-old. So now that I own Ein Kelohenu, I thought tonight we should close with Ein Kelohenu, because if you weren't there, Robbie wrote a verse with some adorable words with my family in it to the tune of Ein Kelohenu. So page 626, We're going to sing the words in the book, not the adorable words from last weekend. 626. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Chemalkeinu, Mi Chemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. I invite you to turn to page 123, where you will find the words of our Shabbat evening Kiddush. And I invite everyone to please rise. And I will say to you, with Gus in mind, what I say to the Rainer students. I invite you to raise your imaginary Kiddush cup up in the air. For you, your imaginary cup can be filled with wine. For them, it's grape juice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. Let us join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Please come enjoy some challah. I don't know what was in Robbie's imaginary cup, but I think you need to share. That was grape juice. we've only done one of the Wednesday night things so far, and it had good attendance.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It was the United Against Hate thing. So this trivia thing, who knows, right? It's